Welcome back to another edition of Four Verticals with Tomahawk Nation. Today we'll be breaking down Memphis versus Navy and what we learned from Mike Norvell's offense and what it may bring to Florida State. I'm Juan Montalvo.
I'm Kevin Little.
I'm John Marchant.
And I'm Adam Brown.
So this is actually Memphis's first play of the game. They're running a familiar concept. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, but this is called down G. You'll see this tackle and end, down block on this defensive end here, and the guard will wrap around, springing the running back for a big gain. Actually a touchdown.
Yeah, so, on down, you normally are going to get a kick by the guard, but it looks like the angles being what they are, you allow the fullback or the three-back to get the kick here, and it lets that gets that outside backer or that edge player there to widen, and then you wrap that guard up underneath, and your running back's going to be, he should be looking to follow the butt of the guard, but he actually cuts this thing up inside the tight end tackle and just breaks it. I mean, it's a great play.
He could have gone outside of the guard's butt there, like you mentioned, but it just works out just fine, obviously.
Yeah, I think the corner ever pursues this, which he widens and it's just gone.
They were really unbalanced. The Navy's defense was to begin with. You can see here right at the snap, the boundary side where the play goes to the play side. Memphis has both the three-back in the backfield as well as the tight end on that side as the nub end closed. And on that half of the ball, you can count 4 defenders. And possibly, if you want to, you can include the shaded nose tackle. So, I mean, it's really just a really, really nice numbers there. Plus the pulling play side guard, helps you get those numbers as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 4.5 on 5, essentially, which, that's going to be the offense's favor. And when your backs get to the second level, you're expecting them to make a guy miss, and that's what he does. I think he ran through an arm tackle here.
So how exactly is down G different than outside zone? Is it a different target by the running back, or is it just the way that they block it up front?
Yeah, so I mean, first thing is just blocking. You're going to get a double team there at the top of the screen with the tight end and the tackle on that 5 tech, and they're going to be working up to that middle backer. Then obviously you're getting a guard wrapping around. You don't typically see pullers on outside zone, but I mean you can, but it's not something you see a lot of. And then you're going to get that kick out block by the 3-back. Outside zone is typically a read by the running back. In this, I mean, he's just following one guy. He's going to one specific spot. On outside zone, he's going to be reading outside to in, the end man on the line of scrimmage to the down tackle. And on this, I mean, he's getting inside of that kick out block, and he should be hugging the guard's butt. He just burst through a hole.
They're not going to yell at him too loud in the film room on that one.
No, but you can see it develop up the top of the screen there between the tight end and the 3-back and the guard wrapping. Watch the hole develop. The 3-back does a great job of getting a kick out. I mean, look at that seam there. He's going no matter what. If he hits it in the right hole or he hits it where he did, he's going for a touchdown.
And one thing you got to give credit to Norvell is his running backs are always super well coached. They rarely miss holes, and they're just going to get yards wherever they can get it. And in this situation, he hits the hole and he gets a touchdown, where some running backs might hesitate or let that hole close up.
Well, let's talk about, this is the first play of the game. They just gave up a long drive to Navy. You come out, you've scripted this drive, all week in practice, and you go out and execute it. I mean, that says something to how well they practice, too. I think that bodes well for the future at Florida State.
Here on Memphis's next drive, early in the second quarter, they're at the goal line, and they're going to run a snag concept, which is a triangle concept, where this outside receiver runs a snag route. This slot receiver is going to run a corner route, otherwise known as a flag route, and then you're going to have have a little swing route by this running back. So Brady White, Memphis' quarterback, doesn't account for this free rusher on the outside, and the result is predictable and should look familiar.
Oof. Unfortunately, quite familiar.
All right, so I mean, what should we be doing here? I think the answer is pretty simple, but
You got to get the ball out, right? 1, 2, 3, ball's got to come out. Whether you throw to the snag route or you're throwing out of the back of the end zone.
yeah, I agree. I mean, first off, that's his guy. He's got to account for that guy. He's got to see protection up front. They're big on big protection. That guy's got nobody to block him. Tight end's out in a route. You got to account for him. That means you either got to be looking at this swing route quick, or you got to be throwing this thing away.
Well, and I will say to Navy's credit here, they've made it difficult on him on the hitch coming in from the wide receiver on the furthest to the boundary side. The Navy linebacker drops back, and then on the swing route as well, the Navy player follows that. So those are both covered, and there's just not enough time for the flag route to develop. So
Absolutely.
He's covered up. It's on top of being just a pass protection, numbers situation. They've got it well covered.
Well, we talked earlier about scouting and scripting and whatnot. This is clearly a situation where Navy is expecting something down here inside the 20, and they hit him right. But you know who likes to catch the football? The fan in the first row. Throw the ball away.
The one thing that Brady White could do here is the tight end. He's running. It looks like he's going to collide with the safety in the middle of the field, and there's nobody else there. He could throw it, right over the G and Tigers and probably be in decent shape, or it could be thrown away. So that's probably one of his good spots to get rid of it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually has a square in against a dropping corner up top that he could conceivably hit if that's his first read, if that's where he's looking. But it seems like he's reading this snag all the way and just gets frozen up.
But that's a play that everybody's saying, oh, the offensive line. No, that's on Brady White.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're going to get sacked, you can't fumble the ball.
No. Nope. All right, so on this play here we have 11 personnel. Memphis is down inside the red zone. They're on the 6-yard line with the wide side of the field to the bottom here. You've got a trips look with an unbalanced tight end and back to this field side. So it gives you kind of a quads look with the unbalanced. So Memphis is going to run a snag route after they've showed that earlier, and Navy showed it all-out pressure. But this time, Memphis is going to roll to it or sprint to it, which is going to give them an advantage.
I think one thing that's really notable about this play when you contrast it to the one that ended in the sack earlier is that what the rollout helps you accomplish is that free rusher on the backside of the play, he's accounted for basically by the quarterback's movement. And do you guys think that the unbalanced line is a big factor in how they can do that rollout?
Yeah, so the first thing is you've got quads down here. So there's one guy that Navy really can't account for. And then secondly, the unbalanced gives you an extra man over there. It widens that edge, which is going to allow Brady White to get out. If that tight end's not there, that defensive end, he could get in Brady's face right away and kind of shorten the timing of the play and not let him hit this snag or this. Actually, it's the whip that he hits.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to Norvell's coaching ability, He sees something at the beginning of the game. He knows that he can get this snag route to get open. He just needs to buy some more time for his quarterback, and he just makes this little adjustment with the unbalanced line and the rollout,
And all credit here to the outside receiver who comes in and does a pick or a rub here. He comes in and he creates the space for that wide route.
He takes two defenders with him. But the nice part for me, though, is it sets up the throwback later in the game. So when Navy has to adapt to what Norvell's shown down here in the red zone, now you hit him with something else.
And with the state of Florida State's offensive line, this is something I think that we'll see a lot of in the fall, rolling the pocket out, giving the quarterback an easier throw, unpressured. It's just a brilliant adjustment.
And I think dovetailing on that, one of the reasons that you'll see more of that rollout is partially because James Blackman isn't necessarily going to be the quickest at getting the ball out. So something like this can help him in that sense.
And even for someone like Jordan Travis, he's a smaller quarterback, so this can help open up passing lanes and give him the option to run if it's there,
All right, so here we got 12 personnel. It's Memphis coming out of the halftime. It's a short hitch, basically, to the field side receiver down here at the bottom of the screen. You can see the defensive back is 10 yards off, and it's pitch and catch.
Yeah, it's athlete in the space. Get the ball to him quick. Let him make something happen. This is just good football.
And this is something that you saw a lot under Jimbo was these short hitch curl type routes to help get the quarterback comfortable, especially when you had this sort of 10-yard cushion. It's easy yards to take, and it's just an easy thing to help the quarterback get into rhythm.
Can FS do it? Can FSU do it? Can James Blackman throw that ball that quick? I'm not so sure. Maybe we're going to find out, but I worry about his windup.
He doesn't take the 2 seconds like Brady White does here. Brady White grabs that ball, turns, plants, throws, and it happens in a matter of a second or less. I think James Blackman adds an extra half second of that's going to slow down that play, and that may not be a first down with FSU. That may be a tackle right there, 5-yard gain.
So this is actually just a few plays later. We got 12 personnel again, and this time it's the same thing. It's a hitch to the field side, this time at the top of the screen. But these plays are actually a little different, so let's look.
Well, first off, look at the running back. I mean, he's clearly thinking, okay, I'm getting the ball here on the inside zone. Nope. Brady White just pulls it and throws it. 2nd and 5, you're stealing again.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see this as like a hot read by a coaching staff. They'll tell a quarterback, hey, in this situation, if you see a 7-yard cushion on the corner, just take the easy completion. You know, it's 2nd and 5. At worst, it's going to be 3rd and 5 if this is dropped. And at best, you know, you can break one and score a touchdown.
I would consider this a classic NFL smoke play. Just a little 1-yard hitch, get the ball out fast and go. Just simple, basic, but it works.
So, I mean, I don't think FSU is going to see a ton of off coverage like that just because teams are going to dare them to beat them over the top, which seems ridiculous, but, you know, with the way things have been going the past couple of years, I just think that's where it's going to be. So I'm curious to see how Norvell adapts to that to try to get some off coverage.
One thing that I found interesting here is you're getting this sort of hitch from under center, and you don't see a lot of teams in college football run from under center often these days anymore. Obviously, under Jimbo, you did in the last couple of years under Walt Bell, under Kendall Briles during Taggart's limited tenure. They were definitely a lot more shotgun based, and you would rarely, if ever, see on a quarterback under center.
And Memphis just attacked Navy over and over again on the edges. But I really like, just getting the ball out to your skill guys in space. Florida State's obviously got a lot of guys that can do that. So this might be, something that, they're good at creating. And I think we'll see this next time we see football.
Like Norvell said, it's an offense built for playmakers.
Okay, so here's a play where we have 21 personnel with the back lined up in the slot out of Memphis. The tight ends to the top of the screen. And they are going to motion the back into the backfield and run outside zone. This is classic. You try to utilize this motion just to get to see what the secondary is going to do, and they don't bump very much, and Memphis gets a good play on 1st and 25.
Yeah, you actually see them running a bubble screen down low, so you have to wonder if this wasn't some sort of pre-snap read. If this apex defender here were to cheat inside, if they weren't going to hit the screen and try to get a big gain out of the easy completion. But instead he stays outside and it's an easy give.
If you look at White's eyes, you can see he's on that apex defender. RPOs being what they are today, they're a popular package play. This is something you see a lot around college football. I can recall Ole Miss running this against Alabama a lot. The nice part is you have the numbers advantage up top. You gain 15 yards on 1st and 25.
You don't want to be in 1st and 25 very often, but hitting a nice outside zone like this and getting a good 15 yards out of it really is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's good running back play too. I mean, watch him. He reads this correctly. He's reading outside in. The tackle slants inside. The outside backer just gets washed to the sideline. He's got a great hole to get into. Then he makes a couple guys miss one. He's there.
Yeah, I really like how it just puts the defense in a no-win scenario. That's kind of the the goal of modern offenses nowadays is just to isolate and put defenders in positions where they can't win.
Well, here's the thing: if Navy rotates that secondary, they are outnumbered to the bubble side. If they don't, they're outnumbered to the run side.
What I get a kick out of here is using the running back. First you line him up out wide, you motion him back into the backfield. But we've seen Norvell in other games that we've looked at. He'll put a receiver back there. Any of these types of personnel that Florida State has, you can rotate them in and out of these types of roles. So, you could have maybe Ontario Wilson start out there in the slot and go into the backfield and take the handoff. So Norvell's going to find explosive guys and put them in situations where they can pick up big yards.
You know what I like? He just puts a defense in stress. He's always messing with their constraints, and he's always putting them in some sort of bind. And I mean, the dude's he's legit as a play caller.
And on top of stressing those constraints, he's doing it while putting his playmakers in space. So you're giving your guys the best opportunities possible, which is all you can ask out of a play caller.
Yeah, the ball's in the right guy's hands.
Agree.
On this play, we have 11 personnel spread out pretty wide, and Memphis is going to go ahead and run a screen. They bring the boundary receiver with some jet action across to clear some space out over on the boundary side for the screen. And in this play, the running back gets out a little bit ahead of his blockers, but here we go.
Yeah, you can see the linebacker's eyes as the jet action goes across. They're drawn by the action, and it gives the running back just a little bit more space.
Well, think about what you're seeing if you're on defense right now. First, you see the tight end switching sides. He jumps over to the unbalanced look. Then you get the jet action. I mean, everything's taken to the right, and then the screen comes back to the left.
It's a really nice play call, and the only thing that went wrong with it was running back got a little out ahead of his blockers, which will happen every now and then with a screen. Had he been able to stay behind them, keep his action a little bit more under them, he might have been able to pull this for a little bit more, but it's a nice play either way.
So if you were watching the defense here in the secondary, you're seeing a lot of finger pointing going on. Do you think this is an auto check by Navy's defense to bring that corner?
I'm not sure what that would accomplish. It seems like it played right into what Memphis wanted them to do.
Yeah, but a lot of times, teams will auto check from the boundary to just try to get quick pressure.
That has definitely been something Memphis saw on film.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Just the way the safety rock and rolls back, and the corner comes off the edge, and he's kind of pointing at it. I'm thinking that was an auto check by Navy to bring the corner off the edge.
It wouldn't surprise me. That's something you see, that auto cowboy blitz for some certain teams when the closed end gets like that. Like you mentioned, I mean, it's just going to bring you that quick pressure, and that really just feeds right into the hands of Memphis here. It's a good situational play call, especially I think they probably saw that on Navy's film and took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, it's just a further testament to Norvell's play calling and the preparation he has to put in to be able to see these things ahead of time.
Yeah, so the reason I asked that question is because we're in the fourth quarter now, and they've run this play a couple times. They clearly have set this up, and they clearly were expecting this out of Navy. And then here you go again, package plays. It's not packaged all at the same time, but this is a package of plays where they have a screen coming off that jet action. A lot of times when people think of package plays, they think of two plays at one time. That's not what it always is.
Right. Well, and the beginning of the play, you see the two receivers at the top of the field. And we've seen this over and over again with Memphis. They usually run a bubble screen. In this case, they don't. They both act like they're going to block. So even though this is a screen all the way, the jet motion across the field ends up being the guy who would have been the receiver had that been an option. But it's just another brilliant use of motion pre-snap. Like you were saying, stressing the defense, their eyes, and their assignments to help spring big plays.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Four Verticals. Be sure to tune back in when we'll be checking out some of the next games on Memphis' schedule. The next one we will be reviewing is Temple. Thank you again for listening.